Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Atari Aficionado. So first things first, just want to remind everybody about the Pac-Man Goodies Marathon. All you got to do to enter the contest is comment one of the 5 videos that I'm releasing. This will be the final video that you can comment to get submitted into the contest. Keep in mind it is 1 submission per video. And then once all of the videos are completed, I'm going to do a live video, or at least a recording video that I will upload on YouTube where I pick a winner. So once again, all you got to do is comment just leave a comment, and this beautiful Pac-Man book, along with some other cool goodies, which I'm putting together. I have quite a collection going, including hopefully maybe some candy. I'm going to try and get some candy in there if I can. Okay, this isn't going to be a big box. This isn't going to be any kind of like retro box or, you know, horror box or any of the box service. Is literally just going to be an enveloped, stuffed with some goodies. So don't expect a ton of stuff, but do expect some stuff. That being said, this is the final video where I talk about my entire collection. I just thought it would be cool to do the entire Atari collection. Entire Atari. Say that 5 times fast. But either way, I'm going to be doing solo episodes after this episode, focusing on the one game, doing a history of it, and then showing some footage of me playing said game. But once again, thank you, Colin Richards, for instilling this great idea in my head, and it is now morphed into this crazy Atari monster. So I hope you guys are loving these episodes. These first 5 videos were sort of just a prelude into my Atari collection, and just me talking about Atari and just having fun with it. So I think you guys have had fun. I've had fun. And hopefully the future episodes go over really well. So anyhow, today's episode is all about the Atari games that Atari came out with, the actual company. Obviously there was third-party developers. That was what I showed you in all of the previous videos. But now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty Atari games. So you guys, if you'd be so kind and follow me into another beautiful episode of the Atari Aficionado.
It's the 2600 from Atari. It's the video system with classics galore, from Space Invaders to cars that roar. A real hip joystick controls the screen. Solaris is hot and Midnight Magic's mean. And one more thing, it's got a special low price, under 50 bucks. 50 bucks? Now isn't that nice? The time is back, oh yes, siree. It's the 2600 from Atari.
Hello everyone. So, I have finally made it to the end of the line as far as showing my entire collection and just overall talking about my entire Atari collection. But just like I stated in the intro, going forward, I'm going to be focusing certain episodes on individual titles, as well as any additional pickups I get. I'll include those in the videos. Any other cool Atari memorabilia I come across, I will definitely make a video for it. That is sort of the whole purpose of the amazing Atari Aficionado, is an entire video segment of my YouTube will be dedicated to the glorious Atari 2600, and eventually if I pick up any other Atari systems, I will be sure to discuss them and show them. So first up, just diving right into this, I'm going to start with Combat, one of the most recognizable games. Obviously, it was a pack-in title at one point, and just one of the very early Atari games for the system. Here I have that version where there's no picture, but it tells you the different game programs that come with it. And then here is the one, here's the label, obviously, the one with the label. It's a slight, ever so slight difference, but one is actually orange, you might not be able to tell from the video, and one is red. Unfortunately, the label variants have sucked me in, the evil variants, devils, and I do find myself collecting the variants. I may do a video about combat, but it's a pretty basic game, pretty cut and dry. It's fun, but it just doesn't really hold your interest for long. Does get kind of boring after a while, but it's definitely more fun playing it with another person. It's not a great one-player game. Up next is Air Sea Battle. I only have one version of this, the one with the label. Not a whole lot to say, kind of the same in the same realm as combat. It's a lot more fun with another person, but there are a lot of different versions of the game where you can fly and shoot, or you're in the water and you're shooting up the planes. So it is pretty cool. You get to be different characters in the game, so to speak. It's probably one of the few games where you actually play as almost every character in the game, which is pretty neat. There's like multiple versions of that game. Air Sea Battle is fun, but that's another one of those games. I think a lot of maybe older Atari collectors like that one a little bit more. I don't really care for it a whole lot, but it is cool. Vanguard, I'm not actually going to say a whole lot about this because I am planning on doing a solo review on Vanguard, but another fantastic flying game. Don't want to say a whole lot about it because, like I said before, I'll be going into detail on this. 1982, really cool game. I love the later release Atari games when they started doing the silver. I just think they look really nice as opposed to just kind of the black background. The black's nice, but I don't know. I think the silver's just a little more eye-catching. So there is that. Might as well just jump right into it. Space Invaders, another very, very popular Atari title for sure. A bajillion different versions of Space Invaders on like every single system. I even have one version. It's called Invaders from Space. Excuse me, it's actually called Invader from Space. So to really distance itself from Space Invaders, they even got rid of the S. At some point, I'll show you guys this game a little bit more in depth. I actually have the box for this. This is from 1980 by Epic. This is like another crazy, like pre-Game Boy type system. This even, I believe, might outdate the Game & Watches because I think the Game & Watches came later in the 80s. So this is pretty intense, and you can even plug in an AC adapter to it. But you probably got to be careful which one you use because you could probably blow it out. But I would recommend just putting in batteries. But Invader from Space, very cool. But yeah, you know, these are just a couple different variants. So there is the silver background, and there is the black background. Unfortunately, the label's peeling a little bit there, so I'll have to try and see if I can find label upgrade, as they call it. And then there's the version where there's just words on there, and the different, you know, types of play are listed. But yeah, Space Invaders, Atari did a really good job with this. And they did such a good job with this that they ported this almost to like every single console known to man. I just found out recently Space Invaders was even ported to the Sega Saturn. So there you go. It was seriously put on like every single system. Surround. This is going to be another game I'm going to do sort of a an analysis of, a little bit more in-depth. Really weird game for sure. I love the name and I love the look of it. It's so 70s. It's so awesome. So, Surround. Not to be confused with Surround Sound. Let's see here. And then I got a couple... Oh, wait. Oh, wow. Look at that. So I got another Space Invaders cart here. See what I mean? There's just so many different ones. So this was a Sears Telegames cart. Because at one point, Sears was able to release basically an Atari knockoff system. And they were able to name it the Intellivision. Or I'm sorry, I think it was just called the Sears Telegames System. That's what it was. And Television was made by a different company. I'm getting all the names confused because there's a ColecoVision and yeah, there's a whole lot. But yeah, this was the Sears came out basically with their own kind of Telegames brand, and they were able to make their own carts so that the Sears, basically the consumers that were buying that particular system knew that this cart would work with it just in case they thought the Atari one wouldn't work. It was really weird. You certainly would not have anything like that happen nowadays with video games. But laws were so different and video games were so new to the market that people were just kind of getting just used to how things were and how things would eventually be, and laws were still being debated and worked on. Here we have two great flying games. I'm just kind of lumping them together to kind of move the video along. So we have Demons to Diamonds and Defender. Defender's going to be sort of a horizontal type shooter where you're flying side to side instead of up and down, which was a lot of shooting games. And Demons to Diamonds is kind of like up and down. And Demons to Diamonds, if I'm correct, this was sort of a Space Invaders-like knockoff where you shoot enemies that are coming closer and closer to you. This has got a lot of neat gameplay, and it's very unique for the time. Even though it's a little bit of a Space Invaders knockoff, it's still a lot of fun. Defender is another one of those games that falls into the River Raid category for me. Everybody loves it. Everybody talks about it. They say it's like the best Atari game ever. I think Defender's a lot of fun, but I still have the same problem that I have with River Raid. I just feel like the controls aren't the best. If you use like a Genesis controller, it's definitely easier, but using the regular Atari joystick is really hard because you literally have to move and kind of do a 360-degree turn in the other direction. So it can be a little frustrating at times with that. And just in general, just kind of a weird game with where enemies are and stuff like that. But if you play it for a while, you can definitely get sucked into it. I totally recommend it, though. Try it out. It's cool. Alright, kind of moving along a little quicker. Missile Command. I know I've mentioned this before in the past. These are the two versions that I have of Missile Command. It's essentially the version that you would see at the arcade. So, nothing super crazy. I'm not crazy about that game. Yar's Revenge, I know I talked about this in an earlier video. Awesome game. This will be getting its own review. Circus Atari, not a whole lot to say. You literally are basically like this character is on a board and one character jumps on the board and sends the other character flying up into the air, and you have to land that character on various things. I don't know. I didn't really care much for that, but it's cool. Outlaw. It's essentially kind of like a shooting game. It's actually kind of funny. This is like the original 1-2 switch. I believe the 1-2 switch is sort of a shooting game where like you have to like go like that to your character with the whatever the hell that thing's called, the Power Joy or something. So yeah, this is the original 1-2 switch right here. It was done better. We got Star Raiders. That's going to get its own special review. Berserk's going to get its own special review. So I'm not going to go into crazy detail on those. Kangaroo is also going to get its own review. But just take a look at that. Just really weird game. Kangaroo on the Atari. Like, who would have knew? Who would have known? Alright, moving this video along. Warlords. This is another classic arcade game. Atari got the rights to. I had to double check and see if like some of these games like Missile Command or Warlords, if they were always owned by Atari. But I know that they were arcade games before they got ported to the Atari. But this is actually a really good port of the Warlords game, where basically you got to defend your base. You're one of the four corners, and this ball basically bounces around, and you got to destroy the other people's like castle or whatever, but you have to protect yours. And it can get really intense. And there's been a lot of like updated versions of that game on like different party games like Mario Party and Crash Bash. So you guys might have seen those before. So there's Breakout, and that's just essentially Super Breakout. They kind of updated it. You basically just bounce the ball and break the blocks. Game Boy had a version called... wow, I can't think today. But there was a version on Game Boy where like Mario jumps in the ship. It's Ball Breaker. It's essentially what it is. But there you go. I'm breaking my balls right now because I can't remember any of this shit. There's just too many games. Haunted House, I have two versions of that. They look the same, but one is yellow and one is orange, unless I'm going crazy. But those are supposed to be variants. This is going to get its own special review. Hey, buddy. Last couple games, just to kind of speed things up. We got Maze Craze. Not a whole lot to say there. It's literally just a maze game where you got to get your dot from one end of the screen to the other. But there's awesome sounds and colors in this. Lots of flashing. Human Cannonball, not a whole lot to say. It's kind of like with the circus game. You literally get in a cannon and you blow out, and you got to angle the cannon, land the guy. So it's kind of like Circus Atari. Adventure, of course, another classic game. I actually love Adventure a lot. I've beaten it, but I know there's different versions of the game where it gets harder and harder, so eventually I will get around to completing that. A couple more games here that I recently picked up. I got the blue box version of River Raid, even though I just got done telling you guys I'm not a huge fan of River Raid, but... there are both of those, and this is actually slightly rare. You don't normally see the blue box version of games, so that is definitely exciting for sure. Centipede, another great arcade game that Atari ported. I got another one of those weird CBS electronic games. This is called Tunnel Runner. This will definitely be getting its own review. But man, that is one ugly looking cart for sure. Gunslinger. This is just another version of Gunslinger. I forgot to show you guys. So there is that. Sorry if this video is getting a little long. And then finally, I got this other one. Just recently got this other game called Squeeze Box. Fucking random as hell. Basically, you are a prisoner and the walls are closing in on you and you got to shoot the walls down. So exactly what you see on there is exactly what the game is. And finally, I just wanted to show you guys all these, so hopefully you didn't get bored. We got Track Scan. And this is another one of those games that you need the game paddles. Lots of fun, made by Sega, which is really crazy. This will also be getting its own personal review. So guys, that is all of them. That is everything. I thank you so much for watching this new series, the Amazing Atari Aficionado. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Obviously, I plan on doing more videos. So hopefully you guys continue to comment and like them and, you know, give me feedback on these videos. If you think they suck, please let me know. If you guys love them, please let me know. Anyhow, this is the Amazing Atari Aficionado telling you about Atari games and 2600 related stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.